Hi everybody, welcome back to the Myers Memories Crafts. This is Jessie, and today we are going to be creating this beautiful card using the Madeline collection from Prima and my circle border punch from Fiskars. Now if you've read on my blog, I wanted to challenge myself to create a project using something that I bought that I had to have that I haven't used since I bought it. So I decided to go ahead and use the Fiskars circle border punch. And this is what the border punch does, if you can see that on the cardstock. Now I will say before we get started, these punches are not really designed to use on cardstock. They're more for the lighter weight pattern paper. So if you do use it on the cardstock, just know that after so long you will either need to replace it or something, because they don't like the cardstock because of all the detail. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and get started with the project. So first you will need a piece of ribbon about 6 or 7 inches long, about it's about 1.5 inches wide. So we'll need that. You will also need a scrap piece of paper that's 3.5 inches long by like 3/4 of an inch wide. You will need a 5x5 craft card base, a piece of pattern paper cut into a 4-inch square, and then I have another circle cut out of coordinating cardstock. This is actually 3 and I believe it's 3 1/8. It was cut out with the biggest circle die from the large circles from my Nestabilities. This I cut out on the Cricut. And then the other thing you will need is scrap craft paper. We went ahead and cut it. I used the decorative label die from Stampin' Up! And I went ahead and stamped my sentiment on it just to save some time, because I know my video was a little bit long last time. So I'm going to set our sample over to the side and we'll go ahead and get started. Now if you've never used the border punch, I wanted to kind of show you guys that first. So when you're looking at the border punch, there's 2 sides. There's a 4-inch side and a 6-inch side. This will only work with a 4-inch circle or a 6-inch circle. That's really important. And if you forget, it's written on the, like it'll say 6-inch side, 4-inch side. It's written on the punch. They come with, they do come with a template you can use to cut out your own circle, so you don't have to have a Cricut die, your die cutting machine. I don't know of a die cut that actually goes through like your Cuttlebug or your Big Shot that is an exact 4-inch or an exact 6-inch die. So I would recommend using the Cricut if you're not going to use their template. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead. You always want to do this pattern paper side facing up. And you're just going to slide this in, line it up with the little guide here. You're just going to press that down. This works very similar to the regular border punches in that once you punch your first image, you're going to slide it out and line it up with the picture on the outside. Alright, so once you go the whole way around, you'll end up with a little bit left over. It's not a perfect border, so I just snip the end off here. And we'll set that aside. So to construct this card, oh, I'm sorry, I did leave out one important detail. You will need a piece of pattern paper. This is from the 6x6 pad from Madeline. I'm going to trim this down to 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. I'm going to set the scraps aside because I'm going to make some more cards similar to what we did last week, or a couple weeks ago with the diagonal pattern. So this is when it's great to use these scraps. So set those aside. Now, if you would like to ink this project, you certainly can. I inked everything we did this weekend at the scrapbook convention, so I'm going to skip it this week. And I'm just using my Tombow adhesive runner to put this card together. You can use whatever adhesive you want. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one very important step. Before you stick your paper down, we're actually going to go ahead and get the ribbon ready. So the first thing we need to do is cut the tails. This diagonal here, or this kind of pennant shape here. And what you want to do is you want to fold your ribbon in half. And see the borders here. So you want to take your scissors from the middle of the ribbon and angle it. Let's see if you can see that. So that you're cutting upwards towards the outside of the ribbon. And if you see, mine isn't very good. But we did this a little bit long so that if you mess this up, you can. And it may be easier for you to go from the outside and work your way to the inside. I think that's what I'm going to do here. There, that turned out much better. So you're going to throw your scraps away. And I'm going to use a line of tacky tape. I'm actually going to do just right here across the top, because this is going to tuck behind our pattern paper. And you want to flip your pattern paper over and figure out where you want your tails to stop. And then wrap the rest of the ribbon behind. And you want the tails to come kind of low on the card because we're going to cover this with a circle. So just flip that over, get that nice and flat. And then you can stick your pattern paper down. And the way we cut this, you're just going to have a little wee tiny border. Okay, so we have our pattern paper down. Now I'm just going to come also through with a strip of tacky tape and just do a line down the center of the card, about 3/4 of the way down. And this is just to anchor the ribbon so that it doesn't move while we're working on the rest of the card. Oops. That's a little bit crooked. The next thing we're going to do, this is super easy. You're going to take the cardstock or the pattern paper that we border punched, tape it to the top, or tape it to the cardstock circle, and just try to center that as best you can. Now, before we do anything else, I want to go ahead and put the banner and the thinking of you together. And what I did for this, similar to the ribbon, you want to kind of bend it a little bit. You don't necessarily want to crease it. Now with the cardstock, it may do that anyway, just because it's cardstock. But just bend it as gently as you can. Go ahead and tape that to the center of your circle. And then tape your thinking of you over top of it. Now you could pop dot this up too if you wanted to. I think that would be a really nice touch. I'm leaving mine kind of flat because these are actually going to go to Operation Right Home. We are going to flip this over and use some pop dots or foam adhesive to pop this up though. And what I'm going to do is actually run it down the sides because we want to split the ribbon. But I'm doing it on the circle just because the first time I made this card, I did too many pop dots on the outside, and there was actually one on the outside of the circle. You can use bigger pop dots or you can use less pop dots, whatever you want. I'm down to just the little bitty ones in the package, the last package I opened, so I'm trying to use up what I have. You just set that right on top. And there you go. It is simple as that. It's a really simple card, but a really cute way to use your circle border punches. So I hope that you enjoyed the card this week, and I hope to see you next week. And please feel free to leave a comment. And remember, if there's anything that you want to see, any techniques you'd like to learn, please let me know. I'll be happy to, do some research and do what I can to teach you guys whatever you want. I will have detailed pictures and written instructions again on my blog, so stop by at www.createwithjessie.blogspot.com, and I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and have a great week.